The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. This is the United Podcast Network.
If you're building a buying, selling a home, the real estate crew's got news for you. Real estate house party.
With attorney Rick Carter,
Real estate house party.
paralegal Kathy Holtshouser,
Real estate house party. Come in, have fun.
and comedian Tony V. Now, here's real estate attorney Rick Carter.
Welcome and thanks for joining us here on what are we going to call today's show? Well, we're on Real Estate House Party.
Yeah.
We had
Good job.
I know, I got that down. So we had three different names. I was going to say, what could possibly go wrong with a seller?
But hold on.
Or sellers behaving badly.
Yep.
Or do we have another one? Or
How about comedians behaving badly?
Oh, I know. We have our comedian missing today,
Yeah.
Tony V.
He's hiding.
He's taking another gig. The gig is tonight with Lenny Clark in Rhode Island for an 8 o'clock show.
And he can't make it here.
Lenny leaves about 6 hours early for every one of his shows, so that's where he
all
went to.
right. That's his real job.
That's his real job. So.
All right, well, we'll miss him.
We'll
All
have
right.
the comedy.
Yeah, we'll do the comedy.
Yeah.
We'll do that. How's everyone's here? Look, everyone looking good?
It's a rainy
kind of
day.
A rainy, yucky day.
Yeah, it's touch
I'm
and go.
not a fan of the rain and hair.
Yeah.
So,
All right, so what are we going to go up? At the real
Sellers
estate?
behaving badly.
Okay,
I
there you
think
go.
that's
All right.
That's what we're.
I'm sure we don't have any stories.
No,
Candice?
they're all so well
Our
behaved.
sellers are also well behaved.
Yeah.
Right.
They're all.
wonderful.
All right, how about this?
Mhm.
Right off the bat. How about a seller who doesn't want a broker? They're behaving badly.
Sure.
What do you suggest to a person who wants to sell their house on their own? Because I know where I go with that. But as
Go
a
ahead.
broker.
Go ahead, try it.
Good luck.
Yeah.
All right.
I think the stats are. Ooh, don't quote me on that.
That's all right.
But I think the stats are maybe 10% of for sale by owners or something like that actually do sell. Not to mention, you're never going to know if you actually got the highest possible
Well, right.
price.
They lose money, right? They lose money.
I mean, how do we quantitate it? How do we show that?
But you don't.
But if you're not
In your
getting
opinion, you're probably not getting the right price.
we pay for ourselves. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
Right.
We always have, and I think the market shows since like 2000, 90% of people are using real estate brokers now.
Okay.
So there's a reason why. Even Zillow execs that, some people like that say, try to sell your house on, or for sale by owner companies utilize brokers. So we have plenty of data.
It sounds like a great
show
idea,
that.
right? Because you're going to save,
It's not a good idea.
No, it sounds like a great idea from a seller's perspective, right?
Sure.
Because they might be saving $25,000, but the buyer that comes in without a broker, right?
It's a disaster.
And they say, well, you're selling the house for $400,000, but you don't have a broker. So you're saving $25,000. So I'm going to offer you $375 for it, or something along those lines. They, you know what I mean. So we're
Getting agita, just thinking about it.
So that's
It's so upsetting.
That's a misconception.
Candice, it's pretty quick to get agita already on the show. All right. So
yeah, I mean, there's so many reasons why a seller shouldn't do it. I think a lot of people think because they're attorneys or they're marketing people that, they're just going to stick a sign out front and voila, magic's going to happen. And I'm not saying that in this market they won't get action. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying there's so many homeowners and sellers that I need to help and recover from the mess that they've caused by doing that.
Right.
Many buyers get put off, if you will, by walking in a house and being shown it from the seller. It's just an uncomfortable
and there are
feeling.
things that the seller shouldn't say to the buyer that I'm sure are being
That's a
blurted
whole
out
nother-
all over that.
It's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
But here's the biggest point. How are you supposed to picture yourself in the home when the seller is showing you everything they love about their home?
Right.
So it
Period.
defeats the whole purpose about staging.
Get out. Separate yourself from it. Depersonalize. Yep. Plus, there's liability that goes along with that. I mean, you know that as an attorney. I mean, you have got to separate yourself. And not to mention, you literally could be choosing a deal or going with a neighbor or something like that. That could be not your highest and best offer that you may very well get.
All right, so in about 45 seconds, I think you guys hit a lot of them. So.
Well,
we did. I could go on
Another
forever.
point I want to make is someone says, wow, the broker made $25,000 on this deal. Listen,
Break
I know,
that up. Take a piece of paper.
I was just going to say, you don't work 4 hours in a week, right? You probably work 4 hours before you even go to work in the morning. So you have
work 80-hour weeks?
earned that.
Candice, when were you emailing me till last night?
Right.
Roughly about.
I think I was emailing around 1. It was an early night last night.
And there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes with a listing agent or a broker that's working for the seller that nobody sees.
Nobody sees, and honestly, it's funny. I got a call from one of my sellers that I sell with all the time. He's a flipper, and he had to utilize someone in New Hampshire other than me. And he called me and he said, it's just so much easier with you. You do things behind the scenes that no one else does and that I can't do. And you're worth your weight in gold.
Right.
But until you go through it, you don't know.
Right.
You know, and I think sometimes we protect our sellers so much and do so much for them behind the scenes that they don't always see the value in us too. So that sometimes can hurt
the
us.
seller, doesn't understand or recognize how hard you're working for them.
Sometimes they don't. I really do have a lot of sellers that really do see the value and they do appreciate me and they are thankful and all of that.
So they don't even know how to negotiate. They don't know about disclosure laws. They don't know about marketing laws. They don't know about advertising.
Right.
So to Kathy's very first point, so if someone's buying a house for $400,000, a lot of them come in and say, listen, I'm offering you $375 because you're saving on the commission anyway.
Yeah. That's
so right off the bat. So there's the first step. Yeah. And then sometimes a buyer's agent might come in and say, listen, I'm going to show the house, but I got to get.
I still want to get paid
a commission.
Right, so then you're
still paying.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And I think another point too is I think during the home inspection stage, I think when someone's selling on their own, I think a buyer sometimes takes advantage of that situation during the home inspection. Say, listen, I need X amount of dollars off. Because of the following.
I overpaid this much, or I feel as though I want to actually get it down to this.
Whereas if there's agents involved, you can kind of corral them a little bit, right?
No.
Right.
Well, and plus you've done a million deals, so you have seen almost everything, and that's what we're going to talk about, bad things that go on, right?
Yeah.
But you've seen it all. The seller has never seen.
You guys get called when they're really behaving badly.
Yes.
But we have to deal with them when they're just throwing
all
their
these
fit.
problems, and they don't know how to rectify them, or they don't know how to negotiate, or they don't know what to do, and now they're in trouble because you're talking about a lot of money.
There's a ton of money at stake.
Yep.
A days on market count, a deal falling through is
disastrous.
All right, here's another big way.
Oh, disastrous. Again, anybody have Tums? I'm having. Do you have Tums? I am just talking about it.
No, here's another way I think that brokers are so helpful is getting that auction effect. I think when sellers try to sell it on their own, they'll throw it out to Facebook. Hey, I'm thinking of selling my house.
They get tire kickers.
They get tire kickers.
But maybe they don't. Maybe they don't. But then they're going to be expected to give a deal to someone.
Yeah.
And it's going to be awkward. It's going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And they're going to lose money.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I tell people is, okay, say you want to, offer it to your neighbor, your neighbor's kid, or this or that. Maybe you tell them that you, as the seller, have the right to disclose to them their highest bid. That's the seller's right to do.
Right.
And that's helping them. Right?
Yep.
Am I correct? Legally, you can do that.
Yep.
So I can't maybe just give you it. I'm going to put it on the market and see what I can get for it. But ultimately, you can have first crack at it. And that's helping people. And that's the smart way of doing it. And again, you'll have that separation. And most of the time, it's going to go much higher. We are more than going to pay for ourselves.
Right.
I've never had someone say, I regret using you.
Right.
Right.
It's never happened.
Well, it seems like you guys are able to get that auction effect going, whereas like a seller just throwing it out, say, all right, I'm thinking of selling this. They don't get that sense of urgency.
Right.
Whereas with you guys, you're blasting on multiple listing service, which is a service that's provided to all the real estate brokers. You're doing broker open houses. You're doing your own open house. You're just saturating everywhere. And then I think that gets that sense of urgency.
Sure. I called on a for sale by owner last night, 8 o'clock at night. I said, it was one that I thought maybe a buyer would be interested. I happened to be driving by. And I said, hey, how are you? I didn't give him too much info, but hey, what are you looking to get for the property? What do you got? What are you selling here? What are we looking at? And I said, just started talking to him like a real human being. And by the end of the call, he's like, "Will you help me? Will you list it for me?"
Good.
Stop it.
And I didn't want the listing, but I might help him out, But that's typically how that kind of stuff goes. Now, new agents, they kind of have to try to get in the door and kind of beg for that. But typically they should, if I'm a good enough agent, they should be asking me to help them. And that's really how that's going, thank God, in my life. So if you're thinking about selling your house on your own, at least talk to an agent or me, that is
just her,
that can tell you the pros and cons. At least educate yourself first. Right. Don't go at it alone.
That's good advice.
And if anything, honestly, I can be helpful. If you're like, Candice, I'm going to just try it, I'll support you. Maybe I'll help you. Maybe I'll tell you
because
some ideas. Maybe I'll put you in touch with a good attorney.
Right. If it falls through, guess what? You're going to get the listing.
And you know what? I want to see everybody be happy.
Candice, halfway into the show, let's get your phone number in case they want to.
We're halfway into the show already?
Well, almost. What's your phone number?
No time still. So to call me direct, 781-670-SOLD.
Oh wow,
765.
That's awesome.
I like that.
Yep. So
all right,
that's
so
the easiest way to get in touch with me.
Say we pretend, or Candice gets the listing.
Yeah.
Now she has a seller client.
Yeah.
She's selling the house. What are the things that sellers are going to do that may slow down the process, may ruin the whole transaction? What other things?
Let's start with this one.
That we're going to tell sellers not to do.
How many do you guys have? I mean, because by the time it gets to you guys, it's disastrous.
It's disastrous.
Right.
Yeah. We
all right. You want to start with one?
Why don't you give us the top 5? Or
no, you give us one. We'll throw back one at you.
Okay. So other things that sellers can do to
convolute the process.
Completely. So is this after I've gotten the listing?
Yes.
Okay. They can stay home and not leave during showing.
All right, that's a good one.
That's a big problem.
Now, do they stay during the open houses? That's got to be
They're not
uncomfortable.
supposed to.
They try to show up and walk around.
No way.
And try to listen to the feedback. I mean, I really discourage it. I think it's going to hurt their feelings all around.
Right.
It's just a bad idea. I report feedback after open houses. I let people know what I'm hearing. There's a reason why I'm there and why I'm telling you to leave. There's a million reasons. I've had a seller show up at an open house. He wanted to see the action that was going on, all excited. He ends up sitting there at the breakfast bar, talking to someone, giving them the wrong answer when I was talking with another client. And I said, get out.
Right.
Get out of here. Let me do my job, because this is not where you're supposed to be.
What were the questions they were asking the seller? Do you remember it all?
It wasn't even anything that. It was just, I think, uncomfortable historical questions. I can't remember. This was a couple years ago.
All right, so we're going to go back and forth.
And it's not that we're not trying to disclose anything, and it has nothing to do with that. I mean, we're disclosing everything that the seller has to say, but sometimes the way they say it is like off-putting to people. They'll be like, "Oh no, I'd never go downstairs." It's like things. Don't.
All right, so
there's a musty smell down in the basement.
But that's fine.
But the buyer can figure that out on their own.
How about you let them form their own opinions about, I would never use that as a bathroom. Well, maybe these people want to use it as a bathroom, but and they've lived there for years, and maybe they just had their own preconceived.
At the closing table, I had tell one buyer, the neighbors are probably glad that we're moving out of here because I ended up having an affair with one of them. So I said, ooh, too much information. So.
I've had that. I've been at a closing table where the woman brought the neighbor who she had the affair with and the husband who was just having to sell his house because his wife cheated on him was in the same room with the wife, ex-wife, whatever. It wasn't even ex yet. And the new boyfriend. She brought the new boyfriend.
Okay. All right. So it seems like we're going to go back.
Whole roll of Tums.
All right. Yeah. All right. I have one for you. So during these divorce situations, you must, and we do this a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of times we'll have the husband in one room, seller in the other room, wife in the other room.
Yeah.
I've actually had them in different buildings before.
I did one with different buildings.
Different times. Different dates sometimes.
So my last one, I had to do it a different date. I told the husband to come in this time.
Yeah.
wife to come in the next day, and the husband finds out when the wife's coming in, comes down and keys her car.
Right.
And then leaves a note on the windshield saying, "This is for all the aggravation you've caused me. So I'm not a criminal lawyer, but
here's your closing gift.
Here's the smoking gun." I think so.
Yeah.
So we've had to separate them like that.
There's a lot of There's a lot of emotion
Right.
that goes with selling your home, and sellers are very emotional, even regardless of getting
the other, like the neighbor showing
regardless
up.
of a neighbor, regardless of divorce, they're separating from their house.
Right.
It's a divorce
All right,
from your house.
So here's a good question for you. To backtrack, in the very beginning, have you ever had a seller, and I've had a couple of these, a seller just pull out of the deal? Seller's remorse.
Yeah, I mean, very rarely.
I know.
I make sure they're really
I had
committed.
one when the market was really heating up, and he says, "I had no idea my house was going to sell this quickly. I have nowhere to move." And I think that might have been on the broker for not.
I educate.
You got to educate the guy. Listen, you might get an offer within the next few days. Do you have a place to move to?
You know, when you put your house on the market and you hire a listing agent,
in this
you
market,
better be 150% sure that and have a plan.
I spend a lot of money on marketing. I spend a lot of money sometimes staging your home.
Well, they're in a contract with you, aren't they?
They're in a contract with me. Listen, sometimes things can change, and I understand that.
Right.
You know, and I'm human. You know, but you know, you can have health reasons, God forbid, anything like that can happen, and that would be maybe the only one time that something has happened is someone has discovered they had cancer, a diagnosis, and they couldn't do the move at that time, and it completely understandable, and call me the year later when they were recovered and fine, and it was a happy ending.
Right.
So, you know, those things can happen. But yeah, it's about qualifying your seller. But how about the seller that wanted to shoot the guy that came into his yard? That's a seller behaving badly.
We didn't.
100%.
He was 100% bad. He was just a bad seller.
So what happens during? Let me elaborate what happened here. So during the sale process, once you go under contract, the mortgage lender, in their discretion, or the title company will order a surveyor, have a surveyor come out and survey the land. So sometimes they knock on the door and let people know, but sometimes they just walk on people's property.
But the thing is, if you're selling your property and it's under agreement, you have to know, and certainly
at any point people could just
and they're very unintrusive.
No, they are. You usually don't even know that they were there.
You don't even know they showed up.
You don't usually know.
It's like the guy reading the meter, the electric meter.
I do think in the future, I do think that they should disclose when they're coming out personally, and I understand that. A lot of people are very protective of their family. They're very protective of their property. So I do understand it to a point. However, this was brought to a whole nother extreme.
Maybe we could tell our sellers, you know, there's going to be somebody coming out to the property.
I know, because of that.
Because we don't know when they're going to go out. It's their schedule, you know.
See, the curveball on that one is that wasn't even our surveyor.
Right.
I think
it was ordered with another title company.
It might have been the next door house for sale.
Yeah, exactly.
Surveyor trying to.
But anyway, your point is,
dimension.
Seller behaving badly. He said he's threatened to shoot the next guy that came onto the property.
So then that got a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Well, didn't it go downhill from there?
Well, yeah, it was just uncomfortable.
But then it came around.
That.
The closing was great.
Yeah, they
were brought
happy.
their little puppy, and it was actually good.
Yeah.
Was it a therapy puppy?
Yeah.
Sure was. I always make sure now I put that seller need to knows. I kind of have my list. Buyer need to know, seller needs to know, buyer don't do, seller don't do, and that's on there. Expect.
And on your list, and that we were emailing each other back and forth last night, you were saying, and it's a great point, the seller and the buyer should try to keep emotion out of the process. You almost have to have it as a business. The seller is selling a product. He's got to remind himself, I know my kids grew up here and they have, you know, I always know when
you have to separate the two.
Right.
I do it often. I say often, this is a business transaction. I know you're emotional about it, but be a business person and be the professional that you are. When I say that, they really hop back into reality.
Because one thing they always say is,
a lot of us do it.
Yeah.
Who doesn't? We all get emotional. I'm not going to say I've been there. If you haven't been there, you don't understand. I've been there. I understand.
Right.
And I think you can
the other reason you got to get the emotion out of it is they got to know that, the house isn't worth what they think it's worth,
Right.
or even what the
It
broker.
may not be, or it may be, but
It might be, but it's really worth what that buyer is willing to pay,
Right.
which actually might be even more than what they're expecting. But they got to remember.
Correct. The buyers set the price.
Right.
Period. I don't
Right.
set the price. Seller doesn't set the price. We have
The
a
mar-
range.
The market will set it.
But
Right.
the market will set, and market and the buyers, when we say market, we mean the buyers making the offers.
Yep.
They set the price ultimately. You put something on for $500,000, you're only getting $450,000 offers.
that's what
guess
it's-
what
right.
it's telling you is
right.
that
That's not what the house is worth.
the market price really should have been $450.
Right.
We don't run into that often.
Right.
We've
Right.
got
You're over.
pretty good at that, and now they're. Many offers are going over. Not, maybe not 60,000, 70,000 right now, but in the spring we're anticipating that to happen again.
Nice.
It's going to be another great year.
Good.
I think you're right.
Mhm.
So let's backtrack a little bit.
So, all right,
just
so-
the lawyer,
okay.
the lawyer
So
and us.
imagine losing out on that 70,000, 80,000 if you think you're going to do it for sale by owner.
Right.
Right.
So just to backtrack a little bit, because we do always want to mention this, and we mention it in probably every fourth or fifth show, but it is so important, and then we'll jump back in, is if a seller and buyer sign an offer,
Mm-hmm.
that's a binding contract
certainly
in
is.
Massachusetts.
Yep.
So
Not the purchase and sale agreement.
It's the offer.
It's the offer to purchase.
and who does this really affect mostly between a buyer and seller? It's usually the seller, because if a buyer backs out after that point,
What do they have to lose?
they just
their
lost their
$500
$1,000.
Whereas a seller could get sued, and we don't want to get
for
crazy.
performance.
Specific performance of the contract. So a seller has to be very conscious.
So when
of what's
you're
in there,
entering
the
into a
terms.
contract, into an offer to purchase, the seller, it's a very serious matter.
As it should be.
Yeah.
Right.
People are
Right.
changing their lives
Right.
around
Right.
this offer.
But it's kind of like when you go in to buy a car and you put $200 down, and then you go home and you think about it. Do you know what I mean? You can just forfeit your $200,
Yeah,
but
no,
as a
sure.
seller, you're in it.
Yeah.
You're in it.
Yeah. It hurts.
So-
I think it hurts a little bit more for sure. I don't empathize with people who back out of contracts that easily. Like I said, health issues. Most people are human. They can
Right.
understand. I mean, if we were in a beginning stages and we had to break the news to them about some valid reason,
What are some of the other issues?
I think people would understand. And normally, I don't know about other agents, but I can move those buyers over to another property. And sometimes, usually, they always end up where they were supposed to belong.
Right.
So you fix it.
So how else
Just
do
fix it.
So
Nothing
some
is
get
the
derailed?
end of the world.
Let's talk about sellers that remove things from the property after the purchase and sale agreement. Just quickly. I
Yeah.
mean, we could go on.
I'm
for
still
days
getting
on this.
calls on a mirror, bathroom mirror.
Yeah.
I mean,
So when
don't take the mirror.
That's
Come
stupid.
on.
It's for that room, right?
Leave the stupid mirror.
right.
You're killing me.
Or they
You're
switch out the
killing.
chandelier, or they switch
I understand that. I
Well, but
understand
you'd
that.
have
Some of
to-
them are
you'd have
sentimental. You have to replace them.
You have to specify that in the purchase and sale agreement and say, except for the chandelier in the dining room, which we will replace with light
This is why I
kind.
have all forms because of this. So
Right.
I have my inclusions, exclusions
Right.
sheet, which not all agents have, but I have that to protect
Or they
myself.
take the refrigerator
What is
when they weren't
included?
supposed to.
What is
or-
excluded?
yeah.
What is staying? What is not? And if it's not on there, put it back,
Right.
no matter what. That's
Right.
it.
So the general
There's no questions.
general
when
rule
you
of
do
thumb
that.
is that it's attached to the property. It should stay with the property.
It's a fixture.
It's a fixture. All right.
Yeah.
But there's some that are the gray area, or not even a gray
Well,
area.
how about the big screen TVs now? Like, I left them. I didn't even sell them to my buyer. I left them because to take them
That
off.
doesn't happen much anymore.
I know, but I didn't want to take
You
them
can
off
leave
the wall.
the mount,
Right.
and usually those mounts are universal.
I just didn't want to leave that gaping hole. Or,
Well,
in-
you
but in-
can't leave
right,
the
But
gaping
in
hole
Kathy's
technically.
case, if she was doing that, she should probably put that in the offer, right? That she's taking
I have that. So I have mounts.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have TVs,
Yeah.
and then I explain to them if they do check off they're taking the TV and the mounts, I tell them they have to putty and plaster the
Right,
holes
right.
and repaint,
Yeah.
Right.
if possible.
That's why I tell people to leave
Typically,
the mounts.
If not, I'll ask people, are you putting a TV back where there was? Otherwise, I'm going to save them from puttying the holes because the holes are already there for you, and everybody's happy. It's
Right.
just a discussion.
Right. It's communication is what it is.
But these are things that can blow up.
What about
Like
the
crazy.
tree in the front yard that was planted on the day my son was born? I wanted to take that with us.
You have every right to do that as long as
I disclose it. So that's kind of sellers behaving badly. They think it's theirs. But a shrub or a tree or something in the front yard.
I've had a seller take
is a fixture.
an air conditioning condenser from outside.
Why?
Yep. They were going to scrap it. I have no idea. They were just not leaving a thing, and
So that would probably be attached to the property.
yeah, that's
Right.
a little attached.
And
yeah.
we talked about this a couple shows ago where they've taken out some fixtures out of the property and put in cheaper quality fixtures and said, well, it just said I had to leave, the doorknobs. But that's not accurate either. It has to be in the same condition. As it was
Again,
at
it
the-
needs to be a discussion.
And of
the
course-
agent needs to have that discussion.
And of course, the buyer gets to go do a walkthrough,
Yep.
24 hours before the closing, or maybe sometimes an hour before the closing,
Yeah.
whenever they've communicated when they were going to do the walkthrough. So the buyer is going to figure it out, and it could be a problem for closing if the seller.
So
is
there's one seller's behaving badly.
Then we get
They
the
don't-
call as agents.
they
So
don't-
you know what I would say? That's agents behaving badly. Also, not
Right.
nipping that in the bud. I don't want to call after.
Right. Oh, I don't want to
So,
call after either.
none of us
so, yeah.
do.
So seller behaving badly, they don't remove everything before the walkthrough. I had a closing a month ago where they didn't move anything out.
Yeah, they'll keep the tires, the old propane tanks. We couldn't get rid of them.
Right.
Well, paint cans sometimes. I try to encourage people to keep the paint cans because maybe you want to pass.
No, I
the
mean
walls.
old paint
Oh yeah,
cans.
old
that-
paint cans that you can't even bring.
Yeah.
You can't even put out to the trash. You have to bring to the dump or specific areas.
These people left everything in.
They left everything.
Yeah.
Oh.
And at closing.
Was it planned to just leave it there and they were leaving?
No, they were just going to come in the next few weeks and take everything out. Yeah.
So that does happen.
And I said to the broker,
Yeah,
the
it sure
way the
does.
broker was stating it was, there's some items left in the property. Then I said to the buyer, I go, well, there's some items, so what do you think?
Oh, yeah.
And the buyer says, no, there's everything left in the property. Yeah. So,
Again,
And the seller said, I just didn't have time to get it all done.
okay.
But you're in a contract
So-
for 45 to 60 days.
but
You
this
knew
can
about this.
But this
day.
can happen. Movers can move up your dates. You can procrastinate. Things can happen. Holidays, I understand. However, it's my job as the agent
Well, that's what I said,
to
too.
check
yeah.
in on you and make sure that timelines are being
And
followed.
if you have to,
And if
you
not,
might have
I
to
call
get
up.
your hands dirty and either go in and help the seller or hire someone to get it done,
Yep,
right?
and we have people that come in, they remove, and this is good for people who are selling their houses. We have people who come in, they remove furniture, they can consign your furniture, they can clean up your house for you, they can pack for you.
Yep.
We have all of those people ready to go on speed dial for you. So there's no reason why you can't let us help you. Help us help you.
that's the group we usually see. Obviously we're talking about the rare instance where they were just completely negligent. They didn't know they had to move out. But
Sure.
in a lot of cases, people don't have a concept of moving. They don't time management, I guess.
Oh, yeah, because it's
Moving's
overwhelming.
hard.
It's
Right.
overwhelming.
Yeah, people have a lot
you
of
don't
stuff.
realize how much stuff you have until you start packing it. And you're like, oh, yeah, 3 boxes, the dining room will be done. Forget about it.
That's
Like,
why I'm empathizing with that story because you can understand how it can be a little bit overwhelming. And then if people are doing it alone and they don't have any help or any family or any money,
Right.
Right. That's a big one.
it certainly is a problem. And again, sometimes we have to step up and step in.
Yeah. And that's why the seller, if you're selling your house or thinking about selling your house, you have to call Candice because she will help you through it.
You need a good agent.
Yeah.
You need a good agent.
Yeah.
We're worth our weight in gold.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And few and far between.
Yeah.
You guys know that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So we got to. I think we have to have
Woo!
it back because we didn't get through how buyers behave badly.
I know.
Which
and
is
we-
why-
Oh,
and the
buyers.
other thing is we
they're
have so many
so
other
bad.
great seller stories.
I know,
I have
but
to go to CVS. I need way more times.
can you come back in a couple weeks and we'll?
What is it? Yeah, Maylocks. I mean,
Yeah, all
I need to go
right, all right.
fill up and then I'll come back. How's that sound?
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for
Thank
joining
you
us today on the
guys.
Real Estate
Thanks
House
for
Party.
having
Candice Pagliarulo, Kathy Holtshouser from Carter Real Estate Law.
Thanks for having
This is
me.
Rick Carter, and we'll have Candice back in a couple weeks. We'll
Don't
talk about
behave badly.
Thanks again.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.